All right, the first day of Camp Cougar is now underway. It's in the books. We've actually seen people on the field. We've actually seen football being played. Dave Noriega, Jason Shepard here in Provo. Jason, what were your first reactions when you saw Jamal Williams on the field? Because there were a lot of rumors that said he maybe not be here for the first practice. What did you think when you saw him?
Yeah, I mean, that was the first person that when we got access to the field that I looked for. And when I saw him there, it was clear throughout the day that he was running with the twos. He did not take any first-team reps, and so you knew something was off. And so, when we had an opportunity to talk with him, he talked about the fact that he is going to miss the first game. He confirmed that. There have been a lot of rumors over the last couple of weeks that was going to be the case. He didn't want to get into specifics, but he did mention that it was honor code related and said that he's going to miss the first game against UConn, but will be back for Texas. I think the interesting thing is that, he owned up to it. He says, I have nobody to blame but myself. I'm the one that knew about the honor code and still made the wrong decision. And that's all you can ask for, is for a guy to own up to it and then take responsibility and then work hard to come back. And that's exactly what it looks like Jamal is doing.
I think what I was most surprised about was that he was willing to talk about it and talk about it so openly. So often players, and we've seen this throughout the years, usually tell the media directors that, no, I'm not comfortable talking, I'm not available. But Jamal was actually the very first guy that was available for us to interview, and he was so open about it, so willing to answer the questions. And the only question that he didn't want to get into specifics was exactly what that violation was. He was asked specifically, was it alcohol related? And he just didn't want to go into details about it, but everything else he was more than willing to talk about it. And he talked about how difficult really these first 2 years have been for him, that it's been a learning experience, that despite signing the honor code, despite being the youngest player on the team when he got here, this has been a real learning situation. He's 19 years old, and he feels like he's now reached a point where he gets it. He understands what's expected of him. Someone asked him, said, you have 2 strikes against you. What happens on a 3rd strike? And he's like, there ain't going to be no 3rd strike. Were you surprised as much as I was that he was as open as he was?
Yeah, and you could tell he was embarrassed. And he was embarrassed because he knew that he messed up. But again, he's owning it. And with what you were talking about, he talked about the first 2 years and how he kind of went through a little bit of a wild phase. But, this may be some sort of a wake-up call for him to help him through. And because he had talked about those first 2 years here in Provo being difficult, I asked him, I said, with some of those struggles, has it soured you on the overall BYU experience? And he said, absolutely not. He's looking forward to making this right, getting back on the field with his teammates, and having a very productive next 2 years in Provo.
Was it harder for him to talk to Coach or his mom? Because his mom is very very involved, yes. And she expects a lot out of Jamal, and he's like, it still was harder to talk to Coach. He's like, I can handle Mom. And you could really tell, and I felt the same way as you did, that he was embarrassed. He didn't like talking about it, but then again, he wasn't afraid to. He didn't shirk, he didn't hide, and I think that's really difficult to be such a young athlete, to have such high expectations. And guess, let's be honest, Jamal knows exactly what's expected out of him this year. Robert and I said in the summer he expects him to break Harvey Unga's all-time leading rushing record this year as a junior. Now he has one less game to play. It's still a possibility. It does make it much more difficult. But nevertheless, Jamal's missing a good game. He's missing UConn. He's not missing Texas. He's not missing Houston. He's not missing Central Florida. Is this probably the best scenario, one game?
Yes, but
if it can be a best scenario?
Yeah, if it's a best scenario, I guess yes, but I'm still haunted this day by the Virginia game last year, because we all thought BYU was going to go in and roll, and yes, we knew they were all going through an offensive scheme change and new offensive coaches, but yes, the good thing about it is the running backs that took first-team reps, Paul Lasike and Adam Hine, were the guys that took first-team reps today. You would expect those guys to be the ones, especially Adam, to take that spot from Jamal that first week. Right. The interesting part about this was, on the other side of things, you mentioned Coach Mendenhall, and he was very proud. I mean, he obviously doesn't like his players to have to go through this, and he wants them to make the right decisions. But he was very pleased with the maturity that Jamal has shown through this process, and is I guess excited for him and his future, because he knows that this may sink in with him. And Jamal talked about that. There's not going to be a strike three. He's learned his lesson. And now he's just ready to get back on the field and play football, which now will be week 2 at Texas.
There's a lot of storylines, obviously. We'll be here every day here at Camp Cougar. And it's about 4 weeks that we're going to be covering. This is really the only storyline that anyone's talking about. What is Jamal doing in his free time now? He gave us a little insight. Apparently, he is superstar at classic skating, gone hardcore into skating, rollerblading. He didn't say. I was surprised mostly that he was talking about how great he is, but he said he can't skate backwards. And we know all great skaters have to be able to skate backwards.
You're a skater, by the way? Like, can you roller skate?
I can. I'm not good. I can stay up most of the time.
Maybe Jamal can give us lessons, because I'm not good at it.
Dude can't go backwards. I'm not sure he's ready to be giving anybody any really good tips. So anyway, we're going to be here all week, so make sure you tune into Cougar Tracks on KSL.com, Sports Beat on the television side. For Jason Shepard, I'm Dave Noriega for Sports Beat.